Jan St-Pierre, who is the CEO and a counter-terrorism consultant at the Modern Security Consulting Group. Thank you very much indeed for speaking to us. We don't have too many precise details of just who these 10 children are who've just been repatriated, or indeed who their parents are. But what do you think is the typical profile of one of these 10 children? How would they have been chosen for repatriation?
Well, the first factor obviously is humanitarian issues, ill health, maybe malformations, or the different types of ailments that are very acute at this point in time, and that where the sort of forces essentially French officials to repatriate the children. Other factors that play a role, of course, political and judicial issues, where are legal issues, where if what are the links that the family links to which these children belong, and above all else, what type of framework can surround them, what type of structure is available to take care of these children who are very often very poorly taken care of and have high levels of trauma. So it'll be case by case, but the first requirement will indeed be ill health, followed by political or legal issues.
So let me just pick up on this point of what happens to them next. So they're in the care of social services right now, and then what happens? I'm still not quite clear.
Well, the biggest question is they're trying to, and that's not just in France, that's in other European countries as well, is can you provide these children with a suitable environment that can deal properly with the trauma and the issues that they have. Usually they'll try to find a family member or family structure that can ease the transition of these children from camp or from Syria to France. But that's not always the case. Sometimes the family itself is involved or suspected of being involved in a broader network that could lead to more trauma or more problems. Therefore, the state has to take over, and the state has to have the resources and the personnel available to take care of these children. Because, again, the psychological and emotional toll that these children experienced and the trauma that they have are very peculiar, and therefore they need the proper structure to be able to deal with it.
And just tell us a bit more about who's been involved in this whole repatriation process, which sort of began in Kurdish-run camps in northern Syria. Was it the army? Is it the foreign ministry? Who's been most involved?
Usually the foreign ministry takes the lead for something like this. It depends, again, on the political priorities, but the main channels are diplomatic channels. So the foreign ministries are involved, and they will deal with the local authorities. So in this case, we're talking about the semi-autonomous Kurdish authority. That's also been the position of most Western countries since this crisis began, that they trust either the Iraqi government or the Kurdish government to properly deal with suspected or alleged IS militants and their families. And therefore, the main aspect will be done diplomatically. Nonetheless, there are serious security concerns, and this is where security forces, intelligence agencies will come in. But first and foremost, it is a diplomatic issue, and therefore foreign offices.
Okay, and of course, lots of French nationals did join the ranks of the Islamic State group, and they travelled to Syria a few years ago. But so too did the nationals of quite a lot of other European countries. Has there been any directive at a European level as to just how this issue of repatriating children should be handled?
Absolutely not. It's really each country decides on its own policies. It's a very thorny issue. It's very problematic, especially from a political aspect, and therefore each state manages its own cases. It prevents a degree of volatility. That means, if Holland repatriates French children, it prevents Holland or the Netherlands from having problems or creating more issues with France. Therefore, it's a case-by-case basis. But nonetheless, we see similarities in the way European countries manage these issues, and essentially it is humanitarian based, it is case-by-case based, and in the case of Germany, which is very peculiar, it needs to go through a trial, and if the trial rules in favor of the families, then the children will be repatriated. But in the end, it is country-by-country, case-by-case.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing that with us. Jan St-Pierre, the CEO and counter-terrorism consultant at the Modern Security Consulting Group. Thank you.